The fantasy football season is over. If you're playing in week 18, you're weird. But on this channel, I live streamed the 3 leagues drafts that I'm in, and then made a video going over all 3 teams I have. Now that the season's over, I think it's only fair to you guys that I let you know how each team turned out. Did I make playoffs? Did I compete at all? Was I a champion? Let's find out.
And yeah, I think I will take Christian McCaffrey. I had him last year. He was really good to me. Oh no, he took Josh Jacobs. Do I double up on running back? Yeah, I'll double up on running back. That's too hard to pass up on. Nick Chubb? Are you kidding me? In the second round, I think the end of the second round. I said, "Fuck it, give me a kicker." I took Daniel Carlson, back-to-back #1 kicker. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, somebody already took Carlson. Oh fuck! Wow, that really fucked me. Hold on, let me look at kickers. Holy shit! I might have to snag Evan McPherson.
The first league I'm going to talk about is the ESPN Fantasy League I was in. Now, I don't really like ESPN Fantasy Leagues just because I like Sleeper that much more. But a family member invited me to this league, so I joined it. I got the 6th overall pick, and falling right into my lap was Christian McCaffrey. I kind of prefer going with running backs anyways, early on. Just because I feel like there's only so many really good ones, so many good workhorses out there. And I feel like you can find some really good wide receivers in fantasy later. So I took Christian McCaffrey with my first pick, and then with my second pick, I took Nick Chubb. Third pick, Calvin Ridley. Fourth pick, Aaron Jones. Ooh. My 5th pick was D-Hop. Man, not quite hitting. Then I took Justin Fields, who, up and down, fantasy-wise. This league has a defensive player, so I took Max Crosby. That ended up working out pretty well. The tight end I took, Pat Freiermuth. Man. Then I took J.K. Dobbins. God. Kicker was Evan McPherson. Jordan Addison at wide receiver was next. Fantasy-wise, I actually ended up being pretty decent. Then I took Anthony Richardson. God. I took Kincaid next. Then the Ravens defense. Then Zach Charbonnet. Then Alec Pierce. And then Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, I'm not going to go through highlights of this season. Besides that, I was the highest scorer in fantasy week 1 of this league. I then proceeded to go 5-7 on the year, finishing last. Dead last in this league. Missing playoffs, obviously. Riddled with injuries. This was just a season from hell. Honestly, with some of the injuries and the absolute draft whiffs high up, it's a miracle I won 5 games, looking back at it now. So much so that in ESPN's Fantasy Recap, they told me my draft day steal was Calvin Ridley with my 3rd pick. That should let you know the performance of this team. It got so bad that since I was eliminated, I just pretty much gave Christian McCaffrey away to my aunt. Just because she was in playoffs. Yeah, we colluded. Whatever. Fuck it. Let's move on to some maybe, hopefully, more positive fantasy teams. Eckler, Kelsey. I don't know who else. I think someone might have taken like Bijan pretty high. Wow. Travis Kelsey, 3rd overall is... I get it. Like, I understand it because of the positional advantage you get, but I don't know if it's enough to take him 3rd overall. They've got a place in my heart as well. Okay, somebody is going to be available to me that I didn't expect. So I bet he takes Tyreek Hill, so that's fine with me. I'll take Bijan Robinson. I wonder if he's reading up on Kupp's injury right now. Like, how bad is this really? Okay, he took Diggs. Okay. I'm going to hope that Devontae Adams is available when it's my pick. That's probably who I'll take. Schnauzer is probably going to end up having to take, I bet he gets Cup. I bet Cup falls to him and he gets auto-picked at him, which could end up being a good thing. Well, Cup got taken. Interesting play. Wow. Gabe should take Chubb. Whoa, Chubb is falling. If I were them, I would either take Chubb or Garrett Wilson. Derrick Henry over Chubb? No, sir. No, sir. Okay, weird play. And Devontae Adams, I think he's going to finish like top 5 again. Wide receiver 2 last year, he's going to be in that same range. I think people are overreacting just because of Jimmy G, but like Mixon over Chubb? You got a team, dude. I have the same team actually so far in another league, and I love the team. And with me.
What the?
Justin Tucker in the 6th again. This happened last year. Buddy, you're picking 3rd for a reason. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same guy who did it, too. Okay, I'm going to take Carlson.
What the?
I'm making sure I have a good kicker, dude. I don't give a damn. You make the what the sound effect all you want. I'm going to be starting off with the league that I've actually been in for, I think this was the 4th year. This is the first fantasy I've ever been a part of, this league here. My record in this league, I went 3rd place, missed playoffs, 3rd place. Is a pattern forming? Did I miss playoffs in this league to complete the pattern? Let's see. In this league, I had the 8th overall pick due to finishing 3rd the previous season. The 8th pick, my first pick, I took Bijan Robinson. I thought drafted as high as he was, he'd be a workhorse in Atlanta. I hate this man so much. And I don't blame Bijan at all. He still performed pretty solidly, just some terrible weeks in the season. But then I took Devontae Adams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Lamar Jackson, Keenan Allen. We'll get into that. I did take Darren Waller. I drafted James Conner, Jordan Addison, another repeat here. You'll see that I was pretty high on him. Daniel Carlson as my kicker. That was a whiff. I took him way too high. Then I took Anthony Richardson. You're going to see him everywhere. I was really optimistic here, and he was great when he played. Man did not play much. I did take Odell. I did take Zach Charbonnet, Luke Musgrave, Roschon Johnson, and I started off with the Jags defense. Things did not start hot in this league. I lost week 1 with Lamar giving me 5.5 points fantasy-wise. My highest score was Keenan Allen with 14. But things picked up. Week 2, pretty big win. I switched to AR as my quarterback. He gave me 17. Pretty decent. Bijan gave me 20. Devontae Adams gave me 20. Keenan Allen gave me 31 points. This is going to be a theme. This was the first of a 3-game winning streak, followed by a 2-game losing streak, then a 5-game winning streak, and then I ended the season with a 3-game losing streak. Notable additions throughout the year. I picked up, early on in the season, Puka Nacua. I think I picked him up after week 1. And I have to come clean, guys. I thought he was going to be like a week 1 wonder. And I traded him. I know. This might go down as one of my biggest fantasy mistakes ever. The trade was James Conner and Puka Nacua for Alvin Kamara. Now, honestly, for the regular season, that ended up being a pretty even trade. James Conner was hurt for a lot. When Alvin Kamara came back, he was like a top 5 fantasy running back. And Nacua had some great weeks, and he did have some lower weeks. But Kamara was mostly steady throughout the whole season. So for the regular season, this was a pretty even deal that I don't regret from that, looking at it from that way. We'll get into what happened at the playoffs later, if I made them. Picked up Kyron Williams in this league? Wait, I picked up Kyron? I didn't know I picked up Kyron in this league. I did not pick up Kyron in this league, dude. What? Oh, failed. Oh, okay. It's tripping me out, man. The waiver wire shows failed waiver wire pickups when you do transaction history. Don't tease me with that. Don't taunt me with that. Another big addition was picking up Devon Achane. This could have been a huge league winner if he didn't get injured. He did come back and he did play, solidly near the end. But man, early Devon Achane was crazy for this team and what spurred on our first winning streak. Another big addition, Tank Dell. Absolute beast in this league, again, until his unfortunate season-ending injury. I would swap through kickers. Eventually, Anthony Richardson got hurt, and I had to drop him. I think my first replacement for him was Sam Howell. I think I tried out some different quarterbacks. But thankfully, Lamar, was pretty solid, really good in fantasy this year. Not the best he could have been, but was still pretty good, and was pretty much my starter for the whole year. Near the end of the season, I did pick up Trey McBride, who became an absolute weapon for me in fantasy, being one of the best fantasy tight ends near the end. And all this led to an 8-6 record that did get me into the playoffs. I got in as the 4 seed. No bye week, having to play round 1. Okay, so I'm editing this right now. I don't know how I forgot to mention this. Keenan Allen was like a top 3 fantasy wide receiver for my team. Well, for fantasy and period, but he was on my team. Really helps me get to playoffs, and then just leaves me out to dry right as playoffs start. Don't know how I forgot to mention that. Still love Keenan Allen, though. Great season. I appreciate him for it all. In this round 1 matchup, I started Bijan Robinson, who gave me negative 0.6 points. But we overcame that and won. The score being 149 to 133, my victory. MVP of this game would probably be Jahmyr Gibbs as my highest score, scoring me 24.8 points. Other notables, Trey McBride from the tight end position, nearly dropping 20 points. Absolute beast. Devontae Adams, 24 as well. Jaden Reed, another player I picked up on the waiver wire, gave me 17. Honestly, just an all-around great team performance that carried us into the next round, where we faced the number 1 seed. And in this matchup, I got steamrolled. I lost 170 to 108. Lamar did his best, chipping in with 23, as well as Jahmyr Gibbs 23. But this is when Alvin Kamara gave 8.5 points. Devontae Adams, 1.4. I had to play Jordan Addison, 1.2. Funnily enough, Bijan Robinson came alive and gave me 19 points. But it just wasn't enough. Dustin Hopkins was the kicker with 2 points. And I played Breece Hall, 43 points. CeeDee Lamb, 25. And this is where Puka Nacua comes back into the picture for this team. Like I said, for the regular season, I thought the trade was fair. Alvin Kamara and Puka Nacua / James Conner seemed pretty fair at the time. Pretty even trade for the regular season, in all honesty. But he comes back in here. I have to play the guy I traded him to. And Alvin Kamara gives me 8.5 points. Not enough. Puka Nacua goes off for 33, biting me in the ass. Again, I really don't hate the trade too much looking back because, like I said, regular season, pretty fair. But my God, did it cost me this season. When it came down to it, playoff times, just got steamrolled because of it. Breece Hall's 43 didn't help either, but man, it's hard not to look at that trade and be mad. But this sent me to the 3rd place game. And like I said, in this league, I've gone 3rd place, missed playoffs, 3rd place. So what do? I win 3rd place. In this league, I am addicted to finishing 3rd place. In this game, I steamrolled them. I went 170 to 103. Lamar, huge game with 37 points. Devontae Adams, monster game, about 37 points. Achane, 23 points. My kicker, Gay, 12 points. Reed on the bench had 27, just taunting me a little bit. But Finish third in this league. I'll take it. You know, that's how I always finish in this league, apparently. Third place king. But let's get into the final league. See if I did any better than third place or if I blundered even worse. With the first overall pick in the 2023 Depressed Fantasy League, I will be selecting Justin Jefferson. No brainer. No brainer. Damn. All right. So I'm definitely going to take... I've got Soho, dude. I do not love anyone here. Chris Olave? I'll go Chris Olave. Should I reach on Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't want to reach on anybody. You know what? I guess I'm going three wide receivers. Fuck it. Let's scan around. Let's see if I can find the worst pick. Worst pick? I don't like Jonathan Taylor this high. He's going to be missing 4 games for sure. And then he's going to be playing with Anthony Richardson, who's going to be stealing some goal line stuff and some rushing from him. So I definitely don't like that pick. Goddard being your next pick after taking Hawkinson is weird to me, especially when you draft another tight end later. Favorite picks? Darren Waller down here. He's going to get a lot of volume, so that's a good one. Trevor Lawrence in the 7th is pretty good. Let's see. Who took Kirk? Oh, that's about where Kirk should go. I don't like the Isaiah Pacheco pick. I doubt he does much. Kamara stash is probably pretty good play. Let's see. I don't like doubling up on Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. You're doubling up on 2 Tampa Bay wide receivers who are going to get thrown the ball from Baker Mayfield. I don't love that idea. Maybe one has a good season, but I doubt both. What was the other one? There's another. Oh, Deebo Samuel this high. I don't quite get. Finishes wide receiver 35 last year. I think I got the better San Francisco wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk, who finishes 15 last year. My favorite pick that I was able to get. I actually don't love any of my picks, if I'm being honest. There's not like one where I'm like, oh, I got a steal here. I was kind of forced into some stuff. I was super glad Aaron Jones fell. I guess being this guy doesn't have a kicker. Auto pick gave him 4 tight ends. What is this? Hold on. Oh, you guys can't even see it. Hold on. What is going on right here? What's happening? Darren Waller, great pick. Okay, Higbee, that's probably a decent backup tight end. Why have 3 tight ends? Why have 4 tight ends and no kicker? What's that about? That's weird. It started off good with auto pick. I was like, okay, Kupp, Saquon Barkley, that's pretty good. Okay, Smith, Metcalf. All right, I get it. I get the reasoning here. Darren Waller, love that as a tight end for you. Miles Sanders, I bet he doesn't do as good as people think. Kirk Cousins, okay, good. Late quarterback to target. Dalvin Cook, I don't like. Brandon Cooks, I don't like. Kadarius Toney, I don't like. Bills defense, okay. Rashad Penny, that late I think is good value, and then just 3 straight tight ends. What happened? But that's the draft. So somebody in the chat said nobody wins with the first overall pick. I swear. This final league, I joined in just because I saw another Cowboys fan page post that they had a fantasy opening, and I joined. And I wound up with the number 1 overall pick. This is a brand new league, completely randomized order, and I found myself with the 1 overall pick. So I did what everyone did, really. If you saw any fantasy advice, fantasy mock drafts, anything like that, the 101 was almost always Justin Jefferson. So I took him. Usually I'm a guy to go with running backs heavy, and I really did consider Christian McCaffrey really hard, but I felt that with everyone saying take Justin Jefferson, I felt the results are either I take him and he's great like everyone says, and it works out, Or I take him and he doesn't work, but I get to fall back on everybody took him 1 overall. That way, if I don't take him and he works out the way people think, then I look like an idiot. But even if he doesn't work and I take him, I don't look like an idiot. So I took him. And, we'll get into it. But like I said, usually I'm a guy who goes running back heavy. But, man, the wide receivers just fell right. I took Chris Olave with the 2nd pick, and then Jalen Waddle with my 3rd. Things came back around, and I took Aaron Jones as my running back 1. Yikes. I took Justin Fields again. Then I took Alexander Mattison, thinking he's ready for the workload in Minnesota. He was not. I then took Brandon Ayuk. Then Freiermuth again. Yikes. Jordan Addison. Pretty solid. Comes into play later. I did took Anthony Richardson again. I was just high on him. And again, was great when he played. Justin Tucker as my kicker. Took Samaje Perine, Luke Musgrave, the Saints defense, and Roschon Johnson to finish out the season. So here's something notable in fantasy. I picked up Achane before his breakout, but then I dropped him for Zach Moss. And, Achane went crazy pretty much after this. And Zach Moss also went really good for those couple of weeks without Jonathan Taylor. But ultimately, that was a huge miss by me, dropping Achane. I then swapped out Alexander Mattison and picked up Kyren Williams off the waiver wire. Huge addition for this team. I then later also picked up Tank Dell. Tank Dell was in all 3 of the leagues that I had, all 3 teams. I don't think I mentioned him in the ESPN Fantasy League because I just was done with that team quickly. But Tank Dell, all 3 leagues. I then swapped out Fields for Purdy, which was decent, kind of a wash either way. I then made this trade. And this was post me realizing Nacua was a mistake to let go in the other league. In this one, I traded away Chris Olave and Jordan Addison for Raheem Mostert and Puka Nacua. Pretty good trade. Looking back, this worked out extremely well. And it did benefit from the unfortunate injury to Achane because he was coming along. But unfortunately, he got hurt. But that did benefit me here in fantasy with Raheem Mostert continuing his workload. During the middle of the season, I did pick up Dak Prescott to be my fantasy quarterback going forward. He started the year kind of slow, so people kind of gave up on him. I picked him up, and he picked it up. In this league, I also did pick up Trey McBride, the absolute tight end weapon that he became near the end of the season. Oh, here, let me just cut this in. Justin Jefferson got hurt this year, which sucks. It really hurt my fantasy team. But I was able to kind of amend the production by picking up Tank Dell. Justin Jefferson plays the beginning of the season, plays great, gets hurt, but that middle stretch here, I fill in with Tank Dell's crazy production. Then he gets hurt, but Justin Jefferson comes back to then take that spot again. So I had an elite wide receiver 1 pretty much all season, but it was just 2 different guys doing the slot. Tough. But my fantasy team overcame it, used both, and it sucks that both got hurt, but we move on. So, how did this league go? Week 1, I was again the highest scorer week 1, starting with a win over 32 stats NFL. I will be bringing this guy up multiple times. Then, I lost the next week. Then I went 2 wins, another loss. Then I won, then 2-game losing streak. And then I ended the season with a 6-game winning streak. And that 6-game winning streak consisted of a win over 32 stats in NFL. Some monster games in here. I had a great team this year. I really did. My highest scoring game, I had 193 points because Dak dropped 40. Kyren Williams dropped 40. Raheem Mostert, 20. Jalen Waddle, 20. Just great team this year, in all honesty. And this resulted in me being the 1 seed at a 10-4 record, giving me a first-round bye. And in that first round, the other team with the bye was 32 Stats NFL. And he dropped 200 points for no reason. Didn't play a single soul. Dropped 200. But then the next week, I actually played the guy who traded me Mostert and Nacua. And in this game, I won 181 to 137. This will take me to the championship round. The highlights here, let's see. I benefited from Nakua's 30-plus points as he dropped 35 for me here in fantasy, practically carrying me to the win. Justin Tucker gave me 16 from the kicker position, which is crazy. Justin Jefferson, 28 points. So, I'm finally in my first ever fantasy championship game where I play 32 Stats NFL. Swept him in the regular season. Will I continue? Somebody in the chat said nobody wins with the first overall pick. I swear. I won 180 to 158, winning my first ever fantasy championship. Highlights: Dak Prescott dropping 31. Kyron Williams had a 3-touchdown game for me in the championship round, dropping 30 points. Puka Nacua dropped a clean 20. Brandon Ayuk with 26 points. Packers defense, which I'm going to get into in a second, gave me 16 points. So what happened is he had all his players finish. I still had a couple guys Sunday Night Football. And I thought I was good, so I sat Seattle's defense before the middle window. All of his players played in the morning windows, the noon windows. So I sat the Seattle's defense thinking I only needed like 8 points to win. Didn't realize his team had like a garbage time touchdown from one of his players that brought him up a bit, and I got scared. But Seattle's game had already started, so I couldn't sub him back in. So I had to drop Cortland Sutton, and I picked up the Packers defense. So I had 2 defenses on this championship team, but it ended up working out the best for me because Seattle's defense dropped 2 points, Green Bay's 16. Now, I ultimately would have won it anyways with Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones combining for the 20-ish points I needed, but slap in Packers defense for a pretty clean win, pretty comfortable margin of victory. And that's how I won my first ever fantasy championship. A hard-fought game. All props to 32 Stats NFL, but I emerged the victor. And that is how I'm going to remember this fantasy season. Not the playoff loss, not the third place win, the champion of the 2023 Depressed Fantasy League. Thank you for watching.
I swear.